Okay, so welcome back. Today is going to be a clock related video instead of a pocket watch related video. Kind of like to balance that sort of deal out on my channel, and also kind of various other things too on the side. But anyway, what I have here on the bench today, I'm sure as you can see, are four Westclox Baby Bens. I'm sure you're thinking, well, what's so special? I mean, they're all just style 8s, right? Well, let me just start turning them up like this. And suddenly you start to notice something funky. What the heck is this? Is there a button on there? Is that like a funky overseas made reproduction sort of deal? Or what? Some weird aftermarket modification? Nope. This is a Scottish made Westclox Baby Ben. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one of these today. If I do end up uploading this video, by the time you see it, it will have been, I think, around a month or so. I like to film these in advance. I'm going to move these out of the way. We're going to dig into this thing. All I've had is the back bell off, and that's it. I have not gone any further, and I am curious to see what's inside. So, without further ado, let's dig into this thing. I'm going to adjust my tripod here, so sorry for the shakiness. Okay. I'm not going to disassemble the movement. I don't know if I will end up filming that. And I just have these finger cuts on so I don't get any fingerprints on the dial. I think that might be excessive amounts of oil there. If that's oil or corrosion or a mixture of both. These are interesting. Let me interrupt my disassembly here quickly. The American ones, the ones we have here in the States, have this little push-pull button right here that is directly attached to the alarm hammer. In fact, I can make the hammer actuate and hit the bell. But on here, I'm sure you're noticing, it's not there, and the movement is actually rotated downwards. Excuse me. But yeah, you can see there's no button. Instead, it's up here. Sorry, that was kind of an awkward silence there. I try to film these videos in one shot if you can't tell. But yeah, just a button instead of your little push-pull lever, which is interesting. The backs are much more plain. And yeah, that says soft loud, and that just says, or it just has a picture, a loud bell for the loud, and then a smaller bell for the more muffled sound. Interesting, softer sound, I mean. So I'll continue on with the disassembly. Try not to do that. Looks like it uses the same screws as the American ones. They use these screws that had a very coarse, as my screwdriver slips over, a very coarse thread, not like a machine screw, more like a wood screw actually, but just with a blunt edge, or a blunt end. Yeah, you can see that there. Working around the tripod here, so it's gonna be a bit awkward. I think you can just kind of, pull that out, and that's this little plastic button Not sure what type of plastic. Maybe nylon or something like that. I don't know if they can dye nylon. I've only really seen white nylon, I think. It's the bell. Let's see here. Sounds like it's lower pitched than the American ones. And it is. So that's an interesting note. That one that I just brought up there, by the way, is I think it was like a special edition one that Westclox made. It is an American one. It was the Baby Ben Deluxe, I think. Which is interesting. It's a name used on ones from the 20s or 30s. It's like the Style 2, I think. So interesting they brought that name back. So yeah, you can see the movement's rotated, and this here. In fact, the little spring bar is the same. I'm going to remove this piece of rubber. These here in the US are just notorious for going hard and brittle and disintegrating. This one feels, I guess, more rubbery still. I guess I'll try. I like to try to keep these intact if I can. Yeah, it's starting to crack, but it's still good. Set that off to the side. And the crystal seems to be stuck to the dial. Ooh, yikes. Oh man. This thing's absolutely coated in oil. Well, I guess there is no use in using finger cots then. Huh. I mean, besides touching the movement. Wow. Getting all over my piece of foam too. This will have to be cleaned up. Some oils can deteriorate plastics too, so definitely going to want to get it off that crystal. So I'll remove the hands. There we go. This is a luminous clock by the looks of it. And I think this dial is painted metal. Looks like it, unless it has a paper overlay, which I don't think it would be. No, it doesn't, because that would have absolutely destroyed the paper. In fact, this is what happens when you do get oil on a paper dial. You can see it's kind of yellow and meh. This is, besides the my Baby Ben Deluxe, this is my favorite original design. Kind of starburst, mid-century modern sort of deal. The style probably is going to need a bit of... No, so just gonna... Okay, there we go. Wow, yeah, this thing is soaked in oil. Somebody must have popped the bell off and just poured a whole can of it in there. Jeez. That green one that you saw, that was the first clock I ever got. You can see it says Scotland there. That green one, I remember I got it at a church sale like 5 years ago, when I was, what? I don't even remember. I was young though. 13, I think? Yeah, around there. 12 or 13. I got it home, and I think I just doused it in WD-30, the movement. And it ran like a champ until I stopped using it, really. More oil. That is just fantastic. Glad this thing does not have a paper dial. These grommets are still good. Gonna have to clean and treat those. On the American ones, these grommets always go bad. At least I found them to always go bad. They go brittle and hard. And an interesting note too, this only is secured by 3 nuts instead of the traditional 4 that American ones have. The later American ones have just 2 bolts, or 2 nuts, and then just 2 studs with rubber grommets. And these nuts are steel instead of brass. And this looks like a style 7 movement. Interesting. And that says UK 9 in there. You see that? Yeah. Definitely interesting. It's ended up all the way in America. Yeah, definitely gonna want the oil cleaned off all of this. Oil's good, obviously, for the pivots of the movement, but oiling the dial is a bit excessive. If I'm gonna be honest, I mean, it's not really a moving part now, is it? I recently gave that green clock a service, actually. Whoops. And miraculously, the WD-40 didn't make a mess of it. It was actually still in very good shape. I guess I didn't put as much as I thought I did in there. Now to pop this guy out. Here we go. There's the back bell with more oil all over those grommets. They're still nice and pliable though, so that's good. Now, for the main attraction, here is the movement. This is what I was curious about. I'm not taking it apart, but I'm just gonna basically video myself examining this thing, because this is intriguing, really. I've never held one of these in person before. Pin Palette 20. I've talked with him on Discord. You know, he lives in the UK, so he has all those Smiths and Scottish Westclox. Oh wow. Oh man, that's pretty bad. Huh. Wow, that's a doozy. This thing's definitely seen a lot of use. I don't know how to rebush these things. I guess I will just have to clean this up to the best of my ability. Wow. Well, I know someone definitely uses this a lot, and all that is basically abrasive. Like, the oil is degraded and it's mixed with dirt. It's become an abrasive compound, really, and that's what causes that. What a mess. Look at this alarm mechanism here. It's just strange not seeing your spring there. That would usually, well, you pull that in and out, because that's what the that's what the knob is attached to on the American movements. This is definitely interesting. So I give this the stop here, and I will give this a little wind. Stays in focus. And I'm telling you, these things don't care what's happened to them. I mean, ticking away, and I mean, look at this. Stupendous. And look at the mess it's making in my finger cots. So I will trip the alarm, or it should be tripped right now, actually. Oh, okay. I see how that works. So there's a tab. See that tab right there? That has that little notch.